Hello everybody and welcome back to Aurora 4X. I of course am Serbian and today we are going to be working on producing our new pinnace. Now, I did tidy it up a little bit between last episode and this episode. It didn't take too long, but did have to tweak it a little bit here and there. So before we do anything else, let's talk about those design choices. Now, we did have a limitation of 5,000 tons, as we as since that's the tonnage that our engines are geared to get us up to the right speed. I developed the proper fire control up to 5,000. Didn't take too long, just like 2-3 weeks. So we've got that 5,000 kilometers a second tracking speed for our railguns from our ship speed. Now, because tracking speed uses the lowest of these two, that 40 kilometers a second extra is kind of wasted. I'm not even sure, but it comes from here, right? But because this is above our ratio of 1250, that's wasted. So 5,000 is what our accuracy is going to use. Okay, so we have 5,000 tons because that's what engines are geared to. Got 145 crew, and that of course needs to be accommodated for. And now I've adjusted the deployment time down to 2 because that is how much fuel we have. Now this ship, I don't really see it sitting around anywhere where it can't renew its deployment time. So the maintenance life is the only thing that really matters. So that's why, even though the deployment time is 2 months and the fuel capacity is 25 days, the maintenance life is a full year. This ship does have a severe problem though, and that is our maintenance supplies compared to max repair maintenance supplies. So what this basically means is that there are components on the ship that we cannot maintain. That's probably going to be the engine, and if I remove it, there you go. Yeah. So the most expensive component on the ship is 20 MSP, except for the engine, which is 252. Now we could have used 2 of these engines at half size. However, then the fuel use would blow out, and we probably would not be able to maintain the kind of speed and range we want. 285. Now, what's actually interesting is that if we have a look, right? No, actually, we do have more range. We have 11.3. If we shift the range up to 11.3, you can see that it does require 400,000 liters. So that's exactly in line with what we would expect for this particular range, even though it's more than what it was. If we were to use, not you, if we were to use 2 of these, so that's 42, 21. If we were to use 2 of these engines, you can see that it would cost us another 45,000 liters of fuel to get it up to the speed we want. So that would give us a payload of 2094 compared to 2239. So that's 230 tons that we would not be able to dedicate to everything else. But yeah, so our maintenance supplies are lower than I would like. What I might do is I'm going to shift armor rating down to 3. That gets us 300 tons to put engineering spaces into. This is not enough to work on battle damage, but the other alternative is, instead of engineering spaces, we can do a maintenance storage bay, because we actually have room for it. Now that will give us 4 times the MSP, so that'll give us plenty of maintenance life. So almost 4 years of maintenance life. We're still 5,000 tons, and we have more than enough to repair, not only maintain that engine, but to also repair it as well. An important thing to remember is that this is your maintenance repair cost for the most expensive engine. To repair a destroyed component costs twice its maintenance cost. So for any ship that is meant to go into battle, that is also military, you need to have this at least twice this. Otherwise, you might not be able to repair any battle damage if that engine, if that usually is the engine, unless you use multiple small ones, you might not be able to repair the battle damage, which is going to be a serious problem if you actually get shot. We still have 3 layers of armor, and we have a column of 26. So our armor and defenses is still pretty reasonable, especially for such an early tech level. I still would not want to go up against a laser armed ship that has a decent laser, because a laser of 4 damage would just punch right through this armor. It serves well. It would serve well against a railgun that deals like 2 damage, and any light weaponry. I mean, it's designed to roleplay wise, essentially patrol around the system and hunt for little pirates in their little nothing ships. So 3 armor will be more than enough for that, and 2 months deployment time is enough to get anywhere it needs to go. So it's twice the days. So it could go out, and come back, and we could probably shave it down to 1 month, but it only saves 50 tons. I would like to still have that 2 deployment time. Spare berths is not relevant at this stage, but smaller crew berths are same cost actually. Is there a disadvantage? Double. There really isn't to using smaller crew quarters. If we can shift... Yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay. Next, we have our engine here. So you can see that our fuel use is 127.86%. That is literally just this number as a percentage. Signature and explosion chance, fuel capacity, range. Now, as I mentioned, this is the important bit. If when you're flying in a mixed fleet, this bit is useful if you're flying by yourself or in identical ships. So as you can see, we know that we can hit something 25 days away. But for example, if we are following one of our freighters, we're going to get significantly more than just 25 days. But if we know that a freighter that has 20 billion kilometers of range, well, the Quokka is going to have to refuel before the freighter will. It's also significantly more thirsty, so we don't necessarily want to be running around all day escorting things, but as a response craft, it'll do. 12 centimeter railgun, 3x4. So we have 3 railguns firing 4 shots each. That's 12 shots, a range of 20,000 kilometers. Now, this is the max range for the fire control. So this is ultimately your max range, but you also want to keep track of this for its accuracy. And you can see tracking speed is 50-40, we talked about that, and it uses 6 power maximum and recharges 1 at a time. So it's got a rate of fire of 30. I'm still actually not sure what the RM means. I've forgotten. This is the damage at range. So this is in 10,000 increments by default. So you can see for the first 10,000 kilometers, it's going to deal 2 damage per shot. For the second 10,000, it's going to deal 1 damage per shot. And then from then on, it's going to deal nothing because it can't reach that far. The fire control range is same thing, except this is accuracy at 10,000 kilometers. So you can see at 10,000, it's 75. At 20,000, it's 50. At 30,000, it's 25. And at 40,000, it's 0. Now, it is a linear gradient, but this basically tells you what kind of range, what kind of accuracy you can expect at certain low ranges. And of course, our power plant. This is our search sensor. So you can see range 4 million, resolution 20. We have 1 of them. The GPS is the gravitational pulse strength. So this is the EM signature that your active sensor puts out when it's turned on. So any passive electromagnetic sensors are going to be working against this signature strength. You can see range and resolution reiterated. And of course, it's a military ship. Now, build time is 1.36 years. Let's go have a look at C and see how we can shave that down. Now, cost, 46% of total is the engine. So obviously we want to prefab the engine. Second is the actually the fuel storage, and then the uranium armor. Now we can't prefab any of that, so that's going to have to be Shipyard built, and the rest of it are insignificant numbers. We could shave like tiny fractions by getting search sensors or power plants or shit like that, but essentially these are fractional, right? There's very little you can actually do to like decrease these, like 15, 35, like 40 compared to 252. So this engine is what we want to prefab more than anything else, because everything else is, well, as I said, it's fractional. It's nothing. We want anybody to be able to command it, and no preference. Let's pick... Ham class. Hunt class. Patrol vessels. Perfect. Canadian patrol vessels. And of course, we're not going to have anything eligible because everything else we've built is nowhere near its build point or tonnage. The DAC, you can see we have 87 total damage, and if we go have a look at our internal hit to kill is 45, which is again about half. That's basically it for this ship. I mean, it's ready to go. It's got all the basic stuff. It would be nice to have 3 layers of armor to get the next level of armor. That will shave a little bit of tonnage out, but as just a little starting ship, this is fine. Okay. Ship components, nuclear pulse engine. We're going to make 3 of them. Yes. We're going to make 3 of them. I'll put 10% production. I'm going to shift it out of the mines. July 22. That's about half a year. That's fine. Okay. Research. We're focusing all the research into asteroid mining modules at the moment to get those out, so we can get to work on those orbitals that I talked about in the last episode. So we are currently just chugging those out. 1,000 tons added to Weissman. We'll just add another 1,000. There we go. We're getting 30205. We're getting about 70 research points a week. So we're going to be not too far off. We need something to catch it with, because it will overflow. I know, because I'll forget about it. You know what? At 5,280, we could get research rate in 2 years. Yeah, I'm doing that. I'm going to get research rate after this. Because Because research rate is one of those things that also snowballs because as your research rate goes up, you can get technologies out faster, which means you can get, well, everything else out faster. Irene is expanded to 6. Yeah, okay. How's Mars doing? Is it able to keep up with the maintenance? Stockpile at 1,000. Yep, nothing's overflowing on the stockpile. So, yeah, that's all fine. How are we doing on population? 97.78. Perfect. Okay. We are building more factories. That is fine. Can we afford a mine? Yes, we can afford one more mine. And then we'll shift to another 3 factory. Oh, no, not 13. Just 3. Good. It's nice having a secondary industrial center, just in case shit goes sideways. Coma Solar is up to 3. That's fine. Structure factory is done. Good. Mining module is almost ready. Oh, we have a spare lab. Shift that. Good. Officer update. Nothing too important. Come on. Almost. Done. Okay. Now, let's design ourselves some ships. I did also rename the classes so that they're a little bit more representative of what they are. So our Geo-Surveyor is now Geo class. Our Freighter is the Hauler class. Our Pinnace is the Quokka, because if you know what a Quokka is, it'll make perfect sense of why I called it that. And this is just a really bad joke. If you know the history of Australia, you'll understand that one too, and you'll probably be groaning right now. Okay. So, first up, we need an orbital hab. Okay, so that's the baseline. As you can see, orbital habitats are 250. They're size 5,000, so they're 5,000 hull size, which is about 250,000 tons. That means that we have a lot of armor, even just for a single layer. We also have a habitation capacity. So if we stick this, say, above Mars, it'll add 50,000 habitation. Not much compared to the infrastructure that we can get for it, especially because of how expensive an orbital hab is. It's 50 boronite and 100 macassium. But at the same time, if we were to stick this, say, above Venus, now you're talking. But yeah, habitation capacity is what it gives you. But that's not why we do it. Why we do it is because this can now be built in industry, and it's 619 build points. Hab module costs 200, so it's 200 build points as a baseline, which is actually not very much. Not for industry, at least. Like, for industry, that's nothing. Okay, terraforming module. This is where your cost comes in. It's 500 build points for a terraforming module. And we're not building one, because, I mean, it's 500, but it's nothing compared to the 5,000. Oh, no. We're going to be building a lot more. 10 of them, specifically, I think would be appropriate. That'll give us 500. Would that be enough? Let's have a look. Well, how much are we spending? Well, we're paying 3,200 uranium for probably the armor. Yeah, 113 uranium armor. That'll be where that cost is coming from. But we're also paying 2,500 boronite as it is. Now, we have plenty of boronite, so it's not really a huge deal. But 3,200 uranium. Let's see if we add another 10 terraforming modules. Now we're paying 6,000 uranium, and that now we're getting into extremes. So that's a 12,000 build point terraformer, right? That's a year and a bit of construction that we will have to dedicate to this thing. Okay, if we take those 10 of those away, well, that's 6,000. It's a bit more reasonable to get these out a little bit more piecemeal, and it's not really a huge deal because, well, the leaders that we put into place on these, they're going to get skills, they're going to get trained up, and it'll give them work. So 2 of these, we won't be as efficient because one leader won't get the same bonus for all the terraforming modules, but multiple leaders are fine. Oh, and we definitely want to conscript these. Speaking of which, we want to conscript the hauler and the colony ship so it doesn't eat into our offices. Too late for the current ones, but oh well. Okay. So, we have 10 modules producing 0.01 atmosphere per annum. This is for the entire 10 modules, by the way. So, as you can see, terraforming takes a very long time, even with giant, colossal orbital terraforming stations. So, yeah, we could double it by adding another 10 terraforming modules. But that might be a little bit too much for our economy to handle at this particular stage in time. So we're going to go with 10. River is actually not that bad. Terraformer. There we go. Okay. And we're just going to copy this. We're going to strip out the terraforming modules. And we're going to add in some asteroid miners. Now, asteroid miners aren't as bad because they are significantly cheaper and also significantly smaller. So we can fit more than 10. Like, say, 50? 50 is not bad. Gives us 600 tons per mineral per year, which is pretty reasonable. What's our cost like? It's not too bad. It's not too bad. It's significantly less uranium than the terraformer. The corundium cost is also pretty reasonable as well. We could, though, go for an even 100. Because it is significantly cheaper, the build point is still really, really high as it is. Most likely that's going to be because of the uranium cost that we have to suffer, but it's also the corundium and the macassium because the thing about the asteroid mining module, where is it? Well, actually, the crew isn't as bad either. But although it's significantly cheaper, the crew is half. So it's a significantly high ratio of crew. So if you have a look, we have, with 100 modules, we have 5,000 crew. The river has only 1,000 crew for those 10 modules. So I'm wondering if we should go with the 100 or the 50. I think 50. Just for the early miner, we can go for 50. Asteroid miner. Okay, and 600 tons per mineral per year is actually pretty reasonable, and this won't be the only asteroid miner we build either. Okay. So now I don't want to build a tug because a tug means shipyard. So I will be using the 2 commercial engines to get it up to 200 kilometers a second. It's super duper slow, but who cares? And we are going to not put in, well, actually, yeah, we will put in 11 billion kilometers, 20 billion kilometers. Yep, that'll do. Okay, this is perfectly fine. And what is it? 21. Okay, let's round it. Okay, 20 large fuel storage. We also need. That's interesting. Oh, because I put 20 engines on it. Okay. I thought that they were a little bit too efficient. Okay. 20 of those and 20 of those. Perfect. Okay. So now we have our terraformer and our asteroid miner. We need the name for the asteroid miner. We're just going to call it the Nibbler, because it's a little mini terraformer, mini asteroid miner, relative to the monstrosities that we're going to be using late game. This is fine. This is fine. Yes. Yeah. So that's super expensive, but that's what we're going to have to do. I think I would like to start with the river. Yeah. It's a little bit cheaper, so it'll get done earlier. And yeah, we'll start on that one. We'll start with 10, as that will pick up the overflow from the nuclear pulse engine once those are done. Now, there's no point prefabbing components because this thing doesn't use them. Because it's assumed that, well, if you have the full power of your construction, you're not gaining any benefit by prefabbing them, right? It's no point. Okay. So, we're working on our research, getting that improved, and we are working on getting our river out. I am also 5,000. Yeah, that's fine. We are also. Well, there's no point tooling it at the moment, because we're improving them right now. Okay, engine complete. Okay, so now we can build 3 of our little pinnaces. So that's going to take about 7.5 years at current rate to get one of the rivers out. Once the let's shift this to 40 and we'll increase that to 15. That shaves almost 2 years. Okay. It's 5 years. It's fine. It's fine. We'll okay. No. We need more. We need more. We'll put the research labs on trickle. Put the mines on trickle. And river can have 70%. So we are really gearing our economy and industry into getting these habitats out. We are also going to create one of these and a second one of these. So that's our industry tied up for the next about 4 years. But that is what we will do, because we want the river to start terraforming Mars, and we want to get the 2 nibblers out to start working over the various asteroids that we want to work on. 98.5, yep, that's quickly catching up with construction factories. Installation mine. That should be enough. Yeah, by the time those 3 are done, we should hopefully have enough chromium. What is our mining rate at the moment? 195. That's not too bad. What's our research going? Research rate. That's fine. Okay. Research rate. We need something to catch the research rate. Let's go with construction rate. Yes. I think right this moment we are going to be heavily working on building up our economic power. So I think we're going to focus on some construction and production immediately to get those out as soon as possible, to get that upgraded so that we have the economic base to do what we need to do in terms of production. Like, because if you have low production rate, then you're going to run into the issue where you basically develop technologies and new equipment faster than you can get your actual ships out and to actually put them into use. So you're constantly going to be building things that are already out of date, which is something that, you know, if you do any kind of development in the tech world, it's something they have to face with, because that's basically technology nowadays as it is. But yeah, so if your technology outpaces your factory production, then you're going to have issues. But you also don't want your factory production to outpace. It's actually not that bad, because your industry can always just sit back and do very little. But your research, you always want to be working. Because I mean, what's our expenditure on research? It's 16% compared to 53. It's very little of our actual economy, generally speaking. River is almost done. Oh, another freighter. Okay, I don't really need a freighter. Almost. Okay, construction factory completed on Mars. Yep, that's good. How is our... Yeah, they have enough corundum. That's fine. So, more construction factories. Let's build 5. How is our population doing? Ooh, we actually have excess workers on Mars. Ah, we are up at 100%. Beautiful. Population is nice and growing, and we have lots of lovely people growing up on Mars. That is good. I think I might actually hold off entirely on terraforming Mars and just head straight for Mercury, start bringing that temperature down. Because if we can get that temperature down, we can get some infrastructure over there as well, and start working on getting people working over there. But we really do need to get that colony cost down below 8. Come on. Almost done. Done. Okay. River is complete. Bethany Barker has been auto-assigned with a terraforming bonus of 25%. So that is most excellent. Orbital habitats. So orbital habitats get built into their own task group called orbital habitats. There's not really much you can do about that without having one there. So just keep that in mind. You don't need to have them a task group already prepared. Here we go. Okay. We're going to rename them into... Fleet. We are going to move you to Mercury. So Mars is a cost of 2. That's tolerable with just infrastructure, especially because we do get free infrastructure. Luna has a cost of 2 as well, because the only thing that's missing is a breathable atmosphere. So that's also tolerable with just infrastructure, which I think we actually will want to do for the Tritanium. But Mercury really needs the terraforming, because it's got the duranium and the thorium that we really, really do need. But having people living there and working there in factories is just not gonna happen. So, environment, terraforming. First things first, we need to bring the pressure down. But before we do that, we might as well just do our oxygen, because that will also help bring bring a little bit of temperature down, because it'll act as because atmospheric pressure affects the greenhouse factor as well. So they might actually increase it, to be honest. Yeah. Okay. So we need 0.1 atmospheres of oxygen. That is an absolute minimum that we need. So we're going to add oxygen, add up to 0.1 oxygen. Is that right? Oxygen minimum to 0.1. Yeah. So between 0.1 and 0.3. So that's fine. We are now starting work on the Nibbler, and we have 9,000 duranium, so that we have more than enough duranium to build it. That is fine. Alright, Terraformer has arrived at Mercury. And we can see that we are producing 0.0125 atmospheres. The 0.0025 is from the commander bonus. The planetary governor does not modify orbitals. So this will only modify what's happening on world. Orbitals are only get modifications from their task forces and their captains. So don't fret too much about having a suitable governor on world that will match what you're trying to do with it. Alright, mine is done on Mars. Irene is expanded to 7 civilian complexes, so that is fine. The population growth on Mars should hopefully help with keeping our wealth up. I mean, our science output is about to jump as well, so that's fine. And then our construction rate is jump. So what we might actually do is I might get the civilian economy up first, just so we get that extra wealth. You'll see also that the population per capita income is 22. So Australia is actually wealthy enough that it actually has a bonus. We also have the 10% wealth bonus as well, so that'll be also where it's coming from. Actually, that'll probably be entirely where it's coming from. March 24, September 24. Okay. Now, there is one thing to keep in mind with the orbital mines. Okay. If we go have a look at the Nibbler. Actually, only the new one. If you have a look at the asteroid mining module, right, it's actually 60 corundium, right? 60 corundium on its own. The rest of it's wealth. Like, it doesn't actually, I don't think it actually uses duranium at all. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it doesn't actually use duranium. So it uses 60 corundium and 60 wealth, which is actually significantly cheaper than even just a standard mine, because mine uses only 60 corundium. So unless the rest of it is actually duranium, at which point it's about the same as a regular mine, right? But it functions as an order mine. So it's half the cost of an auto mine, but you get the full benefits of the auto mine. So for asteroids where you can't use mines anyway, asteroid miners are actually significantly better. Ship components. I can actually find out exactly how much it costs. Asteroid mining module. Yeah, 66. Okay, so it is uranium. But the point is, right, that the asteroid mining module costs exactly the same as a mine, as a regular mine, but it functions like an auto mine. So for asteroids and comets, asteroid miners are the most efficient and best ways to mine them, because you don't have to pay the double cost for the auto mine, but you don't have to have a population there either. So very, very useful thing to keep in mind for when you do need to start mining things, which is always. March, almost, come on. How are we doing on Mercury? Currently 0.007 atmospheres. So we have about bond atmospheres. And it's gone. Okay. So you can see that we're getting about 0.0001.5 or so atmospheres. Oh, and look, Baird raises bonus to 35, so that's excellent. 6912. So 6912 will go up to 8067. So that's a pretty reasonable jump. And we're just going to work on that at the moment to get that out as soon as possible. So we've got civilian economy and the construction rate coming up. It's going to take significantly less than a year just because of how much research you can actually pump out, which is pretty significant. So that is good and well. And you'll hang on. Oh, right, he finished research rate. He's now working on civilian economy. So we'll see that jump later. We're at plus 32 wealth at the moment, and we have 128,000 wealth in reserve. So even if we do dip below zero, we have a long time before it's actually going to make a significant impact. Oh, slipway added. Damn it. Okay, hold on. Yeah, so yeah, this thing finished way faster. Yeah, so the most optimal way to do it is to increase your tonnage and then add the slipway. Because this thing finished ages ago. When did that finish? Just having a look through the logs. God, I can't even find it. So slipway added there, right? Oh, hang on. Which one did we actually? No, it looks like the slipway first got it done first. No, it didn't. So this one added the tonnage, then it added the slipway, and it's just finished the slipway. This one added the slipway first, and it's only just finished adding the slipway. The tonnage got added ages ago. So, because I can't even find the list. It's like way above the first page. So it does look like slipways first might be better. Damn, I wasn't paying attention. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. Shipyards. Tool for the Quokka. Actually, I'm going to tool the Jordan Walters designs for the Quokka, because I'm not going to be building them more than one at a time. So, who cares? But the nibbler is the first nibbler is almost done. Let's see who gets to be in charge of it. And come on. Done. Okay. So the first nibbler has been done, and Lieutenant Commander Jeff Plate has been assigned to it with a binding bonus of 20%. Orbital habitats have been added. We are going to rename this. Rename this to Z, so it sits on the bottom. Asteroid Miner 1. So now it sits down here, right? Because it's got a Z in front of it. We're actually going to rename this one to also have a Z in front of it. And the reason for that is so that they don't get intermingled with potentially combat task groups, which we will want to sit on the bottom, on the top. We're also barely never going to actually contact them. So, okay, where are we going with these? Okay. Mining. Stevens or Terma could be potentially useful, but not necessarily. Venus we can't mine. Enk has boronite, vendorite, iridium, and corundium. And I think vendorite is one of those things that we actually need. What was it that we actually needed? Rhinemouth would be a good option. It gives us corbomite. I think... Well, we have a huge supply, but we're about to run out of corbomite. So I think Rhinemouth might be where we send it. Let's go see where Rhinemouth is at the moment. Is it going in or coming out? Schmaus, Enk, Temple, Brooks, Rhinemouth. It's coming in, and it's... Yeah, okay. Rhinemouth is perfect. Rhinemouth, move 2. We also want to collect a mass driver. We'll load 2 of them. And we're going to get these guys to drop off the mass driver as well, and then come back refill. It's not very quick, relatively speaking, but it doesn't have very far to go, so that's fine. And our cargo ships, I think, are actually not that much slower, or that much faster. So Rhinemouth now has a colony, and... Where is it? There it is. So mass driver capacity is 10,000 tons a year. We are producing 2,300. So one mass driver would be more than enough. But we are going to add another asteroid miner to it. So that will be fine. And we are going to ship these via Mars. Because corbomite, titanium, and cadmium and vendorite, we might potentially want to use them. Like tritanium. Hang on. Does it have tritanium? It does. Okay. So we do actually need titanium on Mars. Because we're almost running out, and titanium is used for construction factories, so we do need a supply of those. Vendorite we are also using. Right, we are using vendorite. So does have, yeah. Okay, so Rhinemouth will help keep Mars functional in terms of It's construction, factory construction, which we're actually almost out of. Mine. Let's get 2 of these guys because we can afford it. And then get another 5 of these. There we go. We're actually 100%. We have plenty of available workers. So this is reasonably happy place to be. We have a lot of years, but that's not really going to matter either way. Annual production, we might actually have to get another mass driver to Mars. Because we're just going to overload it if we do. Let's load another 2 mass drivers and ship them to Mars. Do we have that many? Yes, good. That's fine. There's a construction factory. Research has completed into civilian economy. We now have 24 and 26.4, so we are producing significantly more wealth, which is great. And our construction rate is about to increase, and we are also going to increase our mining rate following that, which is great. We're also going to throw in shipbuilding rates so we can build ships a little bit faster, and shipyard operations, just so we just have a little bit of everything underway. After this, I think we're going to shift to other technologies that we can work on. So that is fine. Civilians are also going to be making a bit more wealth, which is good, which will actually give us even more wealth than just the flat raise. But they're not really doing too much because Mars is only just starting to actually require trade goods. So it's actually producing 11 infrastructure per year, which is great. But it's wanting, what was actually wanting? So Australia's making entertainment products and infrastructure. So the only surplus it actually has is entertainment products. Mars doesn't even have entertainment products as an option, right? There's not enough people there for them to actually even want entertainment products. They also haven't worked out what they have in surplus either, right? So at the moment, Mars is just not enough of a trading colony. Okay, so we've upgraded our mass driver capacity, which is great. So we are going to be able to keep the levels that we have set nicely. Yep. Good. Excellent. We are getting some wealth from taxes, though. So while it's not a good trading partner, we do get wealth from taxes. And Australia is almost up at 1 billion people, which is awesome. Okay. How are we doing for workers? We still have 80 million. That's I wonder if we can just shunt people over to Mars to boost the colony even higher. No. We need Luna. We need Luna. Luna. Load. Unload. Repeat 4 times. That'll get the civilians going. Got a 20% construction guy. That's fine. Don't care. Okay, so there's the unrest due to overcrowding. So the freighters are going to now go ballistic, moving infrastructure across. And we can see that they've already moved 100 infrastructure across to match the population. So overcrowding is now going to be like gone instantly. We want a civilian officer. What do we want for it? We want probably a mining bonus. Bo Brabson. It's got a tiny factory bonus. I think mining plus population growth. Don't think anybody has those bonuses together, actually. No, Emma does, but no, okay. Bo, welcome to Luna. Okay. So we now have a population on Luna, which is excellent. We are going to want to get some mines over there. How is our workforce? 0.35. Okay. Okay. No, it's... For now, we're probably not going to do anything with it. I want to get the Nibbler out before we do anything else with Luna. Okay, there we go. And it looks like I've been called away, but that's pretty good timing because Nibbler is a little bit too far away to fit into this episode. So I think we will put a break in the episode now. Oh wow, that's a big reassignment block. Because we've already set up a terraforming outpost. We've set up a asteroid mining outpost. We're going to be really the economy is really going to kick off now. This is where it really kicks off, because now that we have the construction capacity to start building orbitals, we can start expanding out without having to worry too much about what's where, and we're starting to get an industrial base that is going to be capable of really pumping things out quickly. The next step is going to be The next step is going to be to consolidate in Sol, and get us well established. Eventually, we are going to get gravitational tech and jump drive tech, and then we're going to start exploring out of Sol. But for now, I'll put a break in the episode, and I will see you in the next one.